YouTube? My name is the original Wal-e. I'm back here bringing you guys another video today. Today what we got for you guys is a tier list video. So what we're going to do today, we're going to rank all the Marvel movies in the tier list from S, A, B, C, and D. And they don't have Shang-Chi or Black Marvel on this tier list yet. So I'll probably make an updated video in a month or so, depending on how this one does. But let's go ahead and jump right into the tier list. First, we're going to start with, I believe, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. That's going to go in A tier. Now, Captain America Winter Soldier basically goes over the background of the Winter Soldier in this movie. Basically, Steve learned how to adjust to new life as well outside of the ice. Basically, you know, since he's not in the 1940s anymore, he's in the modern day era. I believe this movie takes place in 2014. This movie is very great, especially the hand-to-hand combat scenes that they implemented in this movie versus Cap when he was fighting the Winter Soldier on the highway. That's one of the GOAT Marvel moments, period. But yeah, I will put this movie in A tier. It's a very good Captain America movie. I like the villain Pierce as well. He's a very good villain, even though he ends up dying at the end, which I mean most villains end up doing anyway. But still, I'm gonna put that in A tier. Next, Thor, D tier. The Thor movie isn't very good to me. I mean, like, it's alright. I mean, basically, you're going over Thor having maturity issues in this movie. Basically, his father banishes him to the human world, basically, for his immature acts against the Frost Giants. I mean, they did deserve, you know, what they had happen to them because they had somebody kill somebody from Asgard. But basically, Thor gets sent to the human world and has to mature. Basically, his father basically falls ill and gets put into like a hyper sleep or something like that. Loki takes over and says, hey, dad doesn't want you back anymore, which he's lying, and he banishes you here basically forever. And basically Loki sends the destroyer to Earth to kill Thor. Thor almost dies to the destroyer, but his father sees that he's changed and gives him his powers back. Thor ends up defeating the destroyer, goes back to Asgard, defeats Loki, but Loki falls into like some endless void or something like that, and we don't see him again into the first Avengers movie. So Thor first movie is going again D tier. Spider-Man Homecoming. That's tough. I'll put it in B. Now, this is Spider-Man's first solo movie. It is a very good movie. I will say that basically Peter learning how to be a solo hero, learning how to do things on his own. Sometimes things get a little bit tough for him. Basically, Tony's basically watching over him, basically being his protector in the movie. He sends the suits sometimes, and then one time he actually comes and protects him after the ferry basically blows up where the Vulture is basically at. He splits the ferry in half. Peter tries to keep it together with the spider-webs, but Tony comes in and saves, everybody basically with they're like little, I'm gonna just call them little Iron Man bots basically. Puts the boat back together, takes Spider-Man's suit, and basically Spider-Man basically has used a makeshift suit and finds out that Michael Keaton was bat. Half of, I think, the Asgardians die, or if not all of them. Well, no, I think some of them escaped to space before Thanos even got in there, but you could tell there was going to be risk in this movie just because Loki dies in the beginning. But yeah, that Avengers Infinity War had plenty of action, especially the Titan scene where Tony, Spider-Man, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are all fighting Thanos on Titan. Even though he ends up beating them, I thought Tony was going to die in this when he got stabbed in the stomach. But Avengers Infinity War is a very good movie. First Iron Man movie, also S tier. Only reason I'm putting the first Iron Man movie in S tier is because it's the godfather of all the MCU movies. But it's not all that great, but it is great at the same time, if that makes sense. Basically, you get an introduction to Tony. Basically, he sells weapons in the movie, gets captured by a terrorist group, basically forces them to make weapons. He ends up making a weapon of his own, which is the original Iron Man suit. Basically, he escapes from the cave with the help of one of the assistants. I forget what his name is, and then gets back to America. I find the scene where he's eating the cheeseburger very funny because every time I think about that, I always want a Burger King cheeseburger though. But Iron Man 1 was a very good movie. Also, you have Terrence Howard playing War Machine in this movie, which he ends up getting recasted by Don Cheadle. I do like the decision. I mean, both are great actors, obviously, but I do like the decision to recast him with Don Cheadle instead. But the villain in the movie, the only reason why I say it's an RA movie, I don't like the villain like just being another Iron Man. It's really bland. Obadiah Stane was evil, but the one scene that gets me every time, he's like, Tony Stark made this in a cave with a box of scrubs. That scene is goated. But Iron Man 1 is in S tier. Iron Man 2, let me put it in C tier. Iron Man 2 in C tier, basically you get like another Iron Man villain once again, like refreshed ideals. Like, nah. It was an okay movie. You get introduced to Black Widow in this movie, played by, what's her name? Oh my god, how could I forget her name? Scarlett Johansson. And then, you get more Nick Fury, because we saw him at the end of the first movie in the post-credit scene. Basically, Tony's learning, how to deal with the little arc reactor, and is just trying to find a new element before he ends up dying due to, the poisoning from it. His dad basically leaves him some tape recordings basically saying his greatest creation will always be him, and he leaves him a city model of, I forget where it's at, that basically leads Tony to discover a new element for his arc reactor, makes a new suit. It's basically another Iron Man villain, because the villain in the movie's dad and Tony's dad worked together in the past. Tony's dad cut him out of a deal and took all the credit for himself. Basically, it's like, if I can't get your dad, I'm gonna get you type of revenge movie. So Iron Man 2, gotta put it in C tier. I can't put it any higher than that. Iron Man 3, I will also put it in C tier. Iron Man 3 is better than Iron Man 2, only because of the action in this movie, and it's also a different villain. I will say that. I like the idea of, the Mandarin, even though it's not the proper Mandarin. The original Mandarin is, Chinese or Japanese, one of the two, I forget. But in this movie, they take a different turn with the Mandarin using a thing, I think it's a virus called Extremist or something like that. Basically, it gives him enhanced abilities. It doesn't mesh well with everybody. I believe one of the side effects is you can possibly blow up, because that's what happens to Happy in one of the scenes. And Tony basically is like, calls out the Mandarin. Mandarin comes and blows up his house. He gets one of his prototype suits that we see in the movie that he's wearing in the picture on the tier list as well. Basically, Tony is dealing with, the aftermaths of the Battle of New York. He's having like panic attacks or anxiety attacks, basically trying to deal with that. He's able to summon his suits now. He injected himself with like little nanobots that call his suits and everything now. But definitely a good movie. I do like, I don't like the change of the villain, but it's pretty decent villain. Pepper also gets infected with the Extremist virus as well, but Tony ends up curing her by the end of the movie, and he ends up blowing up all his suits as well, which I guess they retconned it, because in Age of Ultron, he gets his suits back, obviously, because we know all the other Marvel movies now, so I guess he couldn't stay down for long. But I'm gonna have that in C tier. Incredible Hulk movie, I'm gonna put it in D. Only because only good elements about this movie is basically the Hulk basically messing up everything. I didn't like anything else about this movie, truth be told. The backstory was rushed, obviously. I feel like they should have had more scenes for the backstory. They just had it in the beginning credits of the movie, where basically we all know the origins of Hulk, basically, right? I mean, everybody here knows the origins of Hulk. But Um, I do like all the scenes in the movie with the Hulk. Basically, my favorite scene is probably the one where he's getting chased in the factory and he turns into a Hulk and starts messing up everything. I did like the fight at the end of the movie with Abomination. I mean, it's just another Hulk character. I feel like they do that with all of the movies, really, if you think about it. You get, Iron Man fighting another Iron Man, Captain America fighting another Captain America in both movies, and then you get Hulk fighting another Hulk. So, I mean, I guess they do it in all movies, but I'm going to leave Hulk in D tier. I can't put it any higher than that. Sorry, he is one of my favorite characters, but I can't put it any higher than that. Guardians of the Galaxy, I will put it in B tier. Very good movie. I mean, basically you have them all trying to get the Power Stone and getting it away from Ronan the Accuser, but Nebula ends up getting the Power Stone anyway. Gives Ronan the Accuser, who was working for Thanos, but ends up not working for Thanos anymore, and Ronan the Accuser wants to kill Thanos once he gets the Power Stone. Guardians of the Galaxy end up winning in the end anyway, from Ronan trying to destroy the Nova Corps, and basically all the Guardians basically hold hands and basically work the power of the Power Stone to kill Ronan. It's a pretty decent movie. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but I'm not gonna, discount all the, star faces that they got there, especially Chris Pratt. He does a very good Star-Lord, so I will put that in B tier. Thor Ragnarok, S tier. I already know that. Thor Ragnarok is a good movie. I like the direction that they put Thor in, because the first two Thor movies were a little bit serious. This one is a little bit more funnier on the funnier end. Gives Thor more life as a character, not one of those bland characters. Basically, he's trying to figure out where his father is. Finds out that Loki's been impersonating his father from Sir in Hell, I think he was at. I can't remember, but Loki and Thor go find their father. He ends up dying in Norway, I believe. I can't remember where it was. Hela ends up getting released. Basically defeats Thor and Loki. She breaks Thor's hammer as well. After that, she goes and takes over Asgard, basically rules it. Thor, this is basically like a not bootleg, but it's like an alternate version of Planet Hulk, because Hulk is actually has been sent to Sakaar, basically where he's like some god tier gladiator. Basically, Thor comes in and almost beats him, but they hold him and have this electric shock thing that shocks him, and he end up getting beat. But they end up escaping and get back to Asgard. Him, Hulk, and Valkyrie, and Loki as well. They end with the help of like Krieg and some other people. They end up fighting Hela. Hela is basically, they find out she's too strong. Loki's underneath Asgard, basically collecting artifacts. He collects the Tesseract as well, but basically revives Surtur with the helm of, I forget what it's called. And basically he destroys Asgard and Hela as well. And basically this movie leads right into Avengers Infinity War. Definitely a great movie. I loved every second of it. It is funny. Hulk was great because it's basically smart Hulk, because he knows how to talk and have conversations in this movie. He's not dumb. So this was a great movie. Avengers Endgame. Can't put it anywhere else other than S tier. Avengers Endgame was a culmination of all the Marvel movies. Obviously, this movie is basically a big time heist. Basically, they're trying to figure out, how to get the stones back. Also in the movie, they're trying to figure out how to live with the consequences of Thanos doing the snap. They killed Thanos early in the movie, which Thor does, which should have gone for the head, obviously, but it's just like, wow, this movie was incredible. Like going back in time, seeing all the old Avengers and stuff like that in the past, and then the Captain America fighting Captain America. And then Tony getting to see his father in the past. That was a good moment, because he actually got to hear from his dad that he actually loved him and stuff like that. Even though he didn't know that was Tony, he was saying that he would do anything for his kid. But one of the best scenes in the movie is when Captain America, Thor, and Tony all go and fight Thanos, but they end up losing. In Captain America picking up Thor's hammer, I remember the theater went crazy when he picked it up, but that was definitely one of the highlights of the movie, especially when all the heroes came back, because Hulk snapped everybody back, but everybody came back to fight Thanos' army. Thanos ends up getting dusted by Tony. Tony ends up dying, obviously, which is I would have rather for Cap to die than Tony, just because Tony had more to lose. He had a family and a wife and everything. I feel like the MCU could have used him, but it's crazy. Black Widow dying as well. I mean, I ain't really care much about that. I ain't gonna lie to you guys, but besides the point. Doctor Strange, I'll put it in A tier. Doctor Strange, basically going over the origins of Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange. He's basically a well-renowned surgeon, very, very good with his hands. gets into a car accident and messes up his hands. They start shaking everything. He basically saying he could fix his hands himself if they wouldn't stop shaking. Goes and finds these monks and finds the Ancient One. Basically, she recruits him to become a sorcerer. Basically, he ends up, fighting I forget what they're called, but they serve the Mormu. Basically, he's like this big entity that he's like a spiritual entity or something like that. Basically, Doctor Strange basically learns how to do all of these cool little tricks, sorcery tricks, gets the time stone in the little like pendant in his chest or on his chest, and basically learns how to work it. Puts the Mormon in the time loop. Basically says, if you leave Earth alone, I'll end the loop. Basically, he does. It's a very good movie. I liked it. It's very underrated, but it is going to A tier. It's definitely a very good movie. And Thor: The Dark World is D tier also. I don't like any of the first two Thor movies. They're very bland and very, very boring for real. I mean, it's alright. It's not. I ain't gonna even use alright. It's just trash. I don't like it at all. Like, just from the villains to how Jane has the ether inside of her body. I mean, there was nothing redeemable about this movie. I can't even fathom any good words about it. So I'm done with that. Captain Marvel also D tier. I don't like the Captain Marvel movie. I've kind of found it cool how we got to see how Nick Fury became Nick Fury. Even though I found it kind of corny that how he got his little scar was because of a cat. I found that kind of weird, but I mean, hell, it's whatever. But I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a girls movie, but like it's basically like Carol Danvers going back to her background, trying to recover her past and gaps in her memory. Basically, she thought the people that she was working for were the good guys, which was wrong. But the green aliens in the comics are actually the bad guys, and the people that she worked for are the good guys. So that's flipped in the movie. She gets her powers from the Tesseract, I believe, the Space Stone. So yeah, she got her powers from the Space Stone. Basically, she can absorb energy and make herself even stronger. But I didn't like the movie. I didn't like the movie. Sorry, I'm tripping. I'm over here looking at one of the other movies, but I didn't really like the movie. It was alright, but it could have been better. I did like the post-credit scene though, when she came back to Earth in the future timeline, and basically saw all the Avengers trying to figure out where's Fury and stuff like that. But moving on, we got Captain America: Civil War. Can't put it anywhere other than S. It's basically like a mini Avengers movie besides missing like Thor and Hulk. You could call it another Avengers movie. Captain America: Civil War is basically dealing with the Sokovia Accords. Basically, the Avengers not being able to act on their own will anymore. Basically, have to be working for the government. Basically, Cap is the only Avenger really that doesn't really want to sign the Accords. Everybody else is retired, but the Winter Soldier Bucky comes back into play in this movie because they think that he bombed basically Black Panther's dad basically died. So Black Panther's after Bucky in the movie. So basically they're trying to convince that, Black Panther that he ain't killed his dad, which we all know, but he doesn't know. The airport fight scene was very good. I like how it was just every hero fighting. The introduction of Spider-Man, Peter gets recruited by Tony. Gives him a suit and everything, and the ending is very sad because like you got the Avengers tearing themselves apart, but because like Bucky is brainwashed, he didn't know any better. He kills Tony's parents. Tony sees that his parents get killed because Zemo plays a recording basically of the night that Tony's parents died and finds out that it's Bucky. So Tony's mad and pissed. Tries to kill, basically, he doesn't really try to kill Steve, but he tries to kill Bucky. They end up fighting. Cap ends up beating Tony, but leaves his suit disabled and leaves him there while him and Bucky escape to Wakanda. Eventually, we learn in the post-credit scene. But Captain America: Civil War was definitely a good movie, especially the highway chase scene. I like that. Captain America: The First Avenger, I will put it in C tier just because it was an okay movie. You get the origins of how Captain America got his powers, the super soldier serum. They used some like weird CGI to make Chris Evans' body look a little bit slender and skinnier than what it was. He gets the super soldier serum. The person that gave it to him ends up dying. The person that gave it, I forget what his name is, he saw like special qualities in him in order to give him the serum, because there was a whole bunch of other candidates, but they were all basically like, nah, they not about like putting their life on the line basically. So basically, Steve fights another Captain America, imperfect Captain America, Red Skull. I forget what the dude's name is that plays him, because I know he plays Agent Smith in The Matrix, but It was a pretty solid movie. Just going over the origins of how he got his shield. He got his shield from Tony's dad, Howard. Made it out of vibranium. I don't know how they got it. I think they smuggled it out of Wakanda, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. But pretty good movie. Pretty good origin story for Captain America. You also get the background of Peggy Carter as well. So, pretty good movie. All in all, post-credit scene. Also, all the post-credit scenes usually hit in the movie. Steve wakes up in modern day, basically to the new world. He's kind of, able to, accept it in that he basically isn't in his time period anymore. But we're going on to Black Panther, which I'm going to put in B tier. I know some people might say Black Panther should be higher. I don't think it should. I think it's right in the middle. It is a very good movie. This basically takes place after the events of Civil War. T'Challa goes back to his home, basically to find out, hey, well, he's king now. Obviously, he's learning how to be king. He's hunting. I forget his name's like Claw or something like that. I forget what his name is, but a dude with the weird hand that had like a cannon on there. But basically, Michael B. Jordan plays Killmonger in this movie. That was a very good casting. Basically, Killmonger is T'Challa's cousin. He doesn't. T'Challa doesn't know that. Obviously, he finds out later on in the movie that that's his cousin. That's his cousin. But it's a very good background movie for T'Challa and Killmonger as well. Killmonger defeats T'Challa in the battle, but T'Challa doesn't surrender. He throws him off the side of the little waterfall thing, and he becomes king basically. And it's like, we're gonna send weapons all over the world and basically take it over. T'Challa ends up going on this long recovery process, getting his powers back, coming back to save the day, fighting and killing Killmonger. Well, he didn't really kill him. Killmonger ends up killing himself basically by removing the knife and let himself bleed out basically. But it was very good. I did like the soundtrack for this movie also. But yeah, Black Panther's in B tier. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Put it in C tier. I'm not really a big fan of, I hate to say it, I'm not even a fan of really any of the Ant-Man movies. I like, Paul Rudd as, Ant-Man, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this as well. I'm going to put both of them in C tier. Not to say the movie's not bad, but it's just, locked up convict, trying to turn his life around, finds Hank Pym in the first movie, becomes Ant-Man, saves the day, blah, blah, blah. Ant-Man and the Wasp try to stop another, villain, Ant-Man villain. So it's basically the same thing, really hit or miss. So that's all I have to say about those. I'm not going to go too in-depth about those. First Avengers movie, obviously S tier as well. The first Avengers movie really set up a lot of stuff because it's the first time it's really something like this has ever been done. A culmination of all the heroes coming together on the big screen, and trying to work together as a team. It's going into the backstory, what happened to Loki after he fell down in the Thor's the second movie. Basically, Thor comes out of a portal with the scepter, which encases the Mind Stone, which we don't find out until the second Avengers movie. Basically, steals the Tesseract, trying to get it to open a portal for the Chitauri army to come through. And basically, all the Avengers are having to go through, trying to find the Tesseract and stuff like that. Then you get the Battle of New York, which is absolutely crazy. You think Iron Man's gonna die when he goes through the portal with the nuke. The Chitauri are just keep on coming, but there's a ship in there that keeps sending them. But it's a very good movie. The first Avengers movie is very, very good. I had to get it a 10 out of 10. I remember seeing it in 2012. I think I was in 8th grade at the time. Whole theater was going crazy the whole movie, but you have to put Avengers in S tier. And Avengers Age of Ultron, underrated movie. I'm going to put it in A tier. I can't put it in S tier. I will put it in A tier though. Avengers Age of Ultron basically dealt with Ultron obviously, but it foreshadowed a lot of stuff basically for the future Infinity War and Endgame as well. Basically that they'll lose. Obviously we didn't think they'll lose, but they end up losing in Infinity War. They end up winning, but at a cost in Endgame because Tony dies and Black Widow dies as well. Basically, Tony creates an AI to try to protect the world from threats before they can even get there. Basically, ends up creating Ultron. Ultron sees the internet for 10 seconds and it's all right, everybody gotta die. Basically, you get the introduction of Vision made in the movie as well with the Mind Stone, because Ultron, that was gonna be Ultron's body at first, but the Avengers get it and make Vision instead. Basically becomes an ally for him. What was his name? I forget what his name is. I forget the dude with the gray hair. I forget his name. Sorry, if you could leave it in the comment section, let me know. But I hated his death in the movie. Like, I hate how they killed him off. No, it was one of the Maximoff twins. And also, you get introduced to Wanda as well. She's Scarlet Witch, obviously one of the most powerful beings in Marvel history. Here, like, basically, besides I think like the Phoenix Force, I believe, something like that. But that's besides the point. Basically, Ultron has a plan, basically, of putting a bunch of is it vibranium? I can't remember, or some type of metal in this like sphere and making Sokovia drop and basically end the whole world. Basically, the Avengers end up obviously thwarting this plan, end up killing Ultron that we know of. But very underrated movie just because it foreshadowed a lot of stuff that was gonna happen in the future. And then finally we get to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm gonna put it in B tier. It is a little bit better than the first one. It's just basically going into background of how Peter came to be. Basically, his father is Ego, like the World Eden Planet, or I think that's what his name was. Basically, his origins. Finds out that his dad basically gave his mom a tumor, and basically she died because of his dad and stuff like that. It was a very good movie, very, very different. Don't have any complaints with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 movie, but that's gonna be my list. They don't, obviously, like I said, they don't have the Black Widow or Shang-Chi movies at all in this list yet. So I'll probably make a list in the future, maybe, and see how that goes. But if you guys did like the video, make sure you guys like and subscribe for more content like this. Or if you have your own tier list, hit me up with your guys' tiers in the comment section as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.